Today's guest is someone that holds a very special place in my story. Long before the at-home chef was winning awards and appearing on television or serving clients across the area, there were a handful of people that took the chance on me. And one of those people was Dr. Scott Leveridge. Dr. Leveridge is a board-certified gastroenterologist, president of the Tri-State Gastroenterology Associates, and one of the most respected physicians in Northern Kentucky. But beyond his professional accomplishments, he's been a loyal client, supporter, and friend for many years. What I appreciate most about Scott is that he believed in me before I fully believed in myself. He saw potential when I was still figuring things out and building this business one dinner at a time. Today, we're going to talk medicine, leadership, family, food, and what it means to serve others, and the impact we can have on people simply by believing in them. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Scott Leveridge to the table today. Scott, I'm so happy you're here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. I figured since we have a past, Scott is one of my favorite, if not my favorite client that I've had over the years. And I know that one year for your birthday, I did give you a very nice bottle of bourbon, and I figured it would be just fitting that we start with
Absolutely.
that. So let's pour some of this.
All right.
Pour you first here. All right, that's healthy. You gonna drink all that? All right.
Why not?
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Well, if I'm not mistaken, it was a very nice bottle that you actually made a glaze for salmon with.
Yes.
And I couldn't believe that
Right.
that was the ingredient that went into it.
For people listening, it was a bottle of Elmer T. Lee. And now, before you destroy me in the comments for using that, it was all part of the experience in the dinner that we were doing, because I gave a bottle of Elmer T. Lee to Scott for his birthday that time. And so bourbon is always, every time I come to your house, you always are like, come on, chef, you got to have a bourbon before you take off. And I always enjoyed that part of it for sure. You know, Scott, you're one of the most revered doctors in the area, and I've always wanted, these are some of these questions I've wanted to ask you, but when I'm cooking for you, I never get to ask, and I know that these are just kind of selfish, so allow me to do
Fire
that.
away.
Yeah, I think this one was just kind of like, when did you realize that you wanted to be a physician?
I didn't really have that aha moment. You know, like some people will have a story where something happened personally in their lives where they said, this is what I have to do. I never really had that. I knew I wanted to go into some sort of service to help somebody else. I didn't know what that was going to be. Really, when I went into undergrad, I went to Miami University. When I first went there, I thought I was going to go into dentistry. I had a good experience with an orthodontist that kind of did all the work with me as a kid, and I thought that was the pathway that I was going to go. So, but then I decided I really didn't want to work in somebody's mouth the rest of my life, and now look what I do.
I mean, not to make it weird, but I'm just saying.
So then I kind of transitioned, and I thought, well, still kind of in healthcare, I was going down the pathway of veterinary medicine, and I worked in an animal clinic during a summer, and I thought this could be a really exciting sort of career choice, but it wasn't for me. What I found in that job was I really enjoyed talking with the people more than the animals. Obviously, you can't talk, but dealing with animals, yeah. And so that's when I kind of realized maybe medicine would be a better choice. And then I had some mentors growing up, some good family friends that were physicians, my father-in-law, a physician. And so I kind of saw that and what they did, and that kind of really guided me in that direction to kind of go into medicine. Then when I kind of got to med school, I really did not know what I wanted to do. I thought maybe first pediatrics, and then my first rotation I did pediatrics, and I said, no, this is not for me. And then I went into internal medicine because I still really ultimately did not know what I wanted to do. And it gave me a very broad, sort of options out there. I could specialize in cardiology, nephrology, pulmonary, all these different things. And so then when I got into my residency at UK was when I realized I like GI patients. I like dealing with liver patients. I like dealing with acute sort of problems that arise in the hospital. I also like dealing with long-term relationships with patients, and that this subspecialty gives me that option to do that. I also knew that I could not be in an office, sitting in an office day in and day out, and so choosing something where I had an opportunity to do procedures or break up my day a little bit, use my hands, that really kind of solidified that GI was where I wanted to go. Pretty competitive subspecialty when I went through the process, and so I didn't know if it was going to even be an option. But thank goodness it was, and I love doing what I'm doing now.
That's awesome. And you talked about, not knowing what you're going to do, just knew that you're going to be in there somewhere.
Right.
What do you think was like the hardest part of like the training and then learning like through, because it's a very arduous situation when you like, I'm going to be a doctor.
Yep.
That's not like, oh, I'm going to go down and get my doctor license and then I'm going to go out.
Yep.
I think it's more like the training and the time. When I meet some of my clients that are doctors, I'm meeting them in their late 30s, 40s because they've spent an enormous amount of time. What do you think was like the hardest part of that journey of becoming a doctor?
Honestly, if you sit there and you have a goal in mind and you think about how long it's going to take you to get there, it can kind of paralyze you.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And so for me, what I did is I didn't look at it as this huge chunk of time or this expanse of time. I broke it down into intervals, and I said, all right, I got to get through undergrad. Let's do that. Let's make that our goal. Next goal, let's get into med school. All right, what's the process that it takes to get into med school, and what do I got to do to get there?
Right.
And then med school, you kind of break down into a couple years or into different blocks. The first 2 years, you're in the classroom, and that's hard. I mean, I remember the first week I was in med school. The best analogy I got from a family friend that had gone through it was it's like taking a drink of water out of a fire hose, and that's true.
Wow,
it really was.
I would imagine.
And I struggled with it for the first couple months. Just trying to. What does my life mean now? Like, what do I do on a day-to-day basis, And I treated it like a job. I was in the classroom, and then when I came home, I studied, and it was truly a job. And then your third and fourth years in med school, this is why you did it. You're out there, you're doing rotations, you're actually seeing patients, you're actually bringing those principles, those things that you learned in the first 2 years, and now let's apply it, right? So that gets you through med school, and then again, you chunk it through and residency, you get through your intern year, and now all of a sudden you have a doctor at the end of your name. You have an MD at the end of your name, which is a huge responsibility. And that's scary when you first start out, but you do realize when you're in training, it's training, right? You've got people that are there to guide you through that part of it, and you're supported, and that's what we all need when we're going through situations. It doesn't matter what it is, you need to be supported.
Right.
So, and then, I decided I wanted to kind of do an extra year after residency and as a chief resident, where you serve more as kind of an administrative, sort of role in teaching residents and, and then beyond that, then was fellowship. So again, I looked at it as little pieces of a puzzle. I didn't look at it as the whole puzzle to begin with. Otherwise, it would have been really difficult to kind of get through, right?
Right.
And when I tell people that, I'm like, I did 4 years undergrad. I did 4 years of med school. I did 3 years of residency. I did 1 year as a chief resident, and then I did 3 years as a GI fellow. And they're like, "But that's crazy,"
But do you think that kind of like helped you in where you are now as the president of the Tri-State Gastro? And that's a whole nother role, right? That's leadership. That's taking what you learned, applying it now as the president, there's a whole different layer of,
Yeah.
now it's like, not only are you a doctor, but now you're almost a entrepreneur because you're having to develop, you're having to all kinds of different things that come with being that person. What is something that you've learned in doing that now and being and having that role?
Well, first, I think you have to have the right people supporting you too.
Absolutely.
And you got to put the right people in the right place. And at our practice, we absolutely have that. We have our CEO is phenomenal. Our management, our managers, and at every level, they do a great job, and it's a hard job, and they do a great job, and they make my job that much easier. And as president, I'm president of the group, but all of our partners, we all work together. We all solve the problem. It's not just me alone doing that. And I understand that. And I don't want to be the only one doing those, making those hard decisions. And we work very well as a practice together to solve, anything that may come our way that we need to kind of fix or look at how are we going to advance the practice, or what are the other options, other avenues that the practice needs to go. We all do that together, but again, it's about having the right people that work with you. And again, it doesn't matter what you're doing.
I agree with that 100%. Same with me. Yes, I'm the chef and I'm cooking the food, but I couldn't do it without the support and having the right people in the right spots doing the right things all at the same time. It's like a symphony. If everybody's playing their instrument the correct way, you just hear the music and it sounds beautiful. All the years that I've cooked for you, I've gotten to meet your family. I love your family. I always look forward. If I see Dr. Leverage texting, I'm like, yes. That means I get to cook for him again. One of my favorite clients. I try to go back and look. I'm not even sure how many times, but just so many fun experiences that we have. But I think this is a question a lot of people are listening, maybe trying to figure out, like, so all that time that he spent and all that work that he had to do, and even the work that you do now, how do you find balance being a physician, a husband, a father? Where do you find that? Because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that.
Well, for me, and I tell this to a lot of people, I love what I do, but it's not who I am.
That's right.
Okay, so first off, I am a husband and I'm a dad, period. And I joined the practice that I am in because there are very many like-minded individuals there. A lot of the mentors, the senior partners when I joined, that's what they preached.
Wow.
They preached that their family is the most important thing in their life, and that's what's important to me. So that does make the balance of work and life a lot easier because I know what my priority is. Now, that is not to say that my practice isn't also my priority and my patients aren't my priority, right? Because they are.
Absolutely.
I chose the group that I'm in because I knew that it was going to give me that opportunity to be able to be at home with my family, to be at soccer games for my daughter. I really don't miss much, unless if I'm on call, I do not miss much. I will never forget when Grace and my daughter was about 4 or 5 years old. She had a soccer game, and I wasn't going to be able to make it because I was on call. And I was at the hospital and I was rounding, and I was like, you know what? And I'm the personality where I got to get everything done before I leave, right? Because it's just the way my mind works.
That's right.
And it's hard for me to step away from the hospital knowing I still have work to go back to. And I decided that morning, I was like, you know what? You can make that game. So I did. And I show up. I'll never forget the look in her eyes when she saw that I was there. And her eyes got big, and she kind of stopped playing, to be truthful. But she just said, "Daddy, you're here."
Right.
And like, I know that's a little moment.
No, she'll remember that forever, Scott.
But I carried that throughout my career now, where when I have those thoughts where I'm like, gosh, can I make it? Can I do this? Can I do that? I think about that one moment, and yes, I can.
Yeah.
So I just keep my focus. I keep my priorities in line, and thankfully I'm at a place where I can do that.
That's amazing. I love that story. I see sometimes online where, like, how important it is to be present and be there. and you don't realize that you see the kid is like kind of looking, and then like they lock eyes with the
Yep.
parent at the recital or at
Yep.
the thing, and they just immediately like, to me, that's powerful and that's so important. I love that. Now, like I said, you're one of my favorite clients, and we've done some, I would say some regular dinners, and then we've done some crazy dinners. You know, and the whole time, you know, you're so focused. Oh, I love this, I love that, and not a lot of clients kind of like know what they want to do. Sometimes they just kind of give that to me.
Yeah.
But you're definitely a foodie. I noticed that right when I met you, and then you enjoy cooking. You know, where did that come from?
So growing up, I would say, my mom and dad, they were great in the kitchen. I would say my dad was more the grill guy. My mom was great in the kitchen. And then when my wife, Sarah, and I, when we first started dating, and I would go over to her house, one of the things that her mom and dad did a lot was on a Friday, Saturday night, they would just go out, get a bunch of stuff, bring it back, and just cook it, and we would just sit around the island in the kitchen just watching them, and then we would eat it, and so that maybe kind of started some of it. I don't know really where it took off from there, but we love it. I mean, that's one of our favorite things to do is as a family, really. Yeah. And my daughter, Grayson's the same way, ever since she was probably 5 or 6 years old, we took her out to nice places, and she really appreciates it. She's one of those kids that she wants to get every appetizer on the menu, partly because I do too. And working with me,
that's right.
I have a endless appetite, so I can put it down.
yeah. Even if your guests don't, right?
Right. Yeah. So, but it's just a great, like a Friday night, Saturday night for me is a quiet night where we just go and we get something, and we don't have to have like a recipe.
Or anything.
I don't need a recipe. We just like to throw something together.
Throw it together. I love that. And I love that for me, the whole idea of my business is just getting people around the table and enjoying and sharing each other's, just their presence of being there, because everyone's so crazy. But when I was a kid, Sunday supper was such a big deal. And we would get people together and sit down, whether it was at my grandmother's house or our house. It was about, the food was humble. Okay, but the togetherness and being together, listening, to each other and what's going on with you. Oh, you got that in school, awesome, that award, or oh, you did this in this game, whatever. Like all of that was so important. And when I never remember anything we really ate, but I remember what we talked about. I always remember like my dad sitting at the head of the table, and my mom on the other end, and my sister and I looking at each other, and just those times together. And it sounds like that's kind of what you guys are creating at your home.
Yeah.
When I'm not there, I mean, obviously when I'm there, it's very high end and very nice. No, but I mean, like I said, we've done a lot of dinners together, and some of it have been. One in particular, I remember. I was going to bring this memory up because I just love it. Scott, it was kind of a build-up when we did dinners, right? I did the first one. That was very memorable, and we can talk about why that was so memorable. But you were like, as time, it just got progressively bigger over time. So we had the regular dinner, which was like appetizer, first course, second course, and dessert. And then Scott's like, well, maybe we do something a little bit different. I'm like, okay. And I think, I think I'd have to check my menus, because I have all my menus still on my computer. But I think it ended up being like almost an 8-course situation, 8 or 9-course situation.
Yeah.
And I think by about the third course, your guests were like, what the heck is going on?
We got several more. Yeah. It kind of goes back to that. I like to try a lot of different things, and that dinner, I do remember each course. It was no joke. It was a full course for each course.
Yeah.
I mean, we started out with oysters, and then we had, you did tempura fried squash blossoms.
That's right. We did do that.
And then it was an arugula and salad. A watermelon and feta cheese salad. See, I still remember this.
You're amazing.
And I've shown these pictures to a lot of people. We did a piece of halibut.
Yeah.
We did a filet with crab meat on it.
Okay.
We did a seafood gumbo, a fettuccine with mussels,
Yes.
and I think you finished it off with the apple crumb.
Yeah, the stuffed apples.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? And
We got wheeled out of the house.
And let me put it on the record right now that Scott finished. I didn't bow his guest, but Scott finished everything.
Everything.
Everything. You put it away. It was a tour de force. It was amazing. And it still goes down as one of the most interesting dinners I've ever done. I've done like multiple like tapas or small course dinners. I did a pasta one for actually it was a musician, and he wanted just like really small little Italian courses, small plate, and that was probably, I think it was like 9 courses, I think is what it ended up being. Crazy, but it was smaller bites though. Like it was a smaller, yours was full on, we're plating it up, ready to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, after the 3rd course, I'm like, they don't know what they're doing right now. And then if I see someone do that now, some people will be like, well, I want to have this and this and this. And I'm just like, all right, we'll see if you can pull it off like Scott, because
it can be done, number one.
Right. It can be done, but a lot of times people kind of get over their head because by the time I serve the dessert, they're like, oh, I can't do it, but
but that was an impressive dinner though, because that was not easy for you, and I understood that.
I had fun though.
Yeah, and it was a challenge for you, but you certainly stepped up to that challenge plus some.
Yeah, and I think what you have done too over the years with me and working with me is you have always been able to stretch me beyond where, you're kind of like, tell me something you haven't done before. Or, I want to do this. And I'm like, ooh, oh yeah, absolutely. I know how to do that. I've never done that. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? So
but we never know that.
No,
we
never know.
I would never know it.
I try to do things in a way that like, I'll practice it ahead of time, but like, I always want to keep stretching, out and doing things I've never done. And you guys have always brought that to the table. And I know we talked about the first dinner. Mm-hmm. And I think the first dinner was like the most memorable one that we've done. I know that you had heard me through my mother-in-law who you saw, and you guys talked, and she couldn't stop talking about me. Thank you, Marge, for doing that, because it created this relationship. But I love the first time we cooked together because the story is really what it's about. It's not the food. We talked about the food on that dinner, but this was more about the experience.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so it was a surprise birthday party for my mother-in-law. It was her 60th birthday, and we actually had my 2 brother-in-laws and their families. One came from South Carolina, and the other one came down from Cleveland. And she had no idea that they were going to be there. And it's hard when you live that far apart.
Yeah.
To get everybody together all at the same time, right? And so when you have those moments, it's special. It doesn't matter what it is. So she arrived. We had all the families drive down the street, so she had no idea they were even there. And then she comes in, and we act like everything's normal. Hey, we're getting ready to go out to dinner. And then, actually, you know what? Let's just stay in for dinner. Like, let's not go out. This is going to be better. Let's just stay in. And oh, by the way, we got this guy from the at-home chef, Chef Ken. He's going to come in and he's going to cook for us. Really? Yeah, he's going to come in. We're going to do this.
Right. And
then doorbell rings, and it's her 2 other sons and their families. Right. And it was just an awesome experience. And then you come in, and I meet you and meet your wife, Julie. And what a great night. I mean, like you said, we were sitting around a table, we're telling stories. You guys are dodging all the nieces and nephews running around the kitchen, probably shooting Nerf guns at you.
It happens. We're used to it.
And you just go with the flow,
right?
Yeah,
go with it.
But what I loved about that was, we're sitting there in the dining room, and in between courses, I remember you said, hey, you know what, guys? We got about 15, 20 minutes. Why don't you guys get up, move around? Get up, move around. Come into the kitchen if you guys want to, chat. Yeah. And that's what we're excited about, right, too. So we come in there and, why are you using that, Ken? Why are you using that, Ken? And you're telling us where you're sourcing all your stuff from, and it's mostly local, and you've developed all these relationships with people in this city, and it's neat to hear that. And it gives us an idea where we could go maybe to get this special ingredient or that ingredient, and hey, why are you cooking and doing this certain way? And you were able to give us that without being like, over the top and crazy. You gave it to us in a way we could understand.
Absolutely.
And it was fun.
Yeah, I think
it was fun. And you clean our kitchen afterwards, and it looks better than it ever has. And take the trash out. That's amazing.
Take the trash. If your trash is full and then we can't find a garbage can, we just take it to our house. We're we'll just throw it away. It's fine. We do that though. It's just, I think that was what I enjoy most about my job.
Yeah.
The food is kind of just what I use to create that. What you just said, food creates that, but you can't create it without the food, obviously. But, the part of meeting the family and having a relationship, like you said earlier, you really went into your part of medicine because you wanted to have those long-term relationships. And for me, cooking allows me to establish long-term relationships with people. Right. And that is one of the things that I enjoy so much about my job. And I enjoy it when I can have people who appreciate it. And I think you and your family have always appreciated it. And that's what I love. On the food thing, and I, this is another question, like I said, I just want to ask to kind of just understand, what's your favorite guilty pleasure food? Because I know I have mine, but I'm curious. If you're calories don't matter, I just want to eat this. I want to,
It's definitely going to be a sweet of some sort. It's usually going to be a vanilla cake with icing. I'm a big fan of just a regular old sheet cake.
Really?
It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be special.
Write that down. Sheet cake is the next dinner. Yep. What kind of icing are we putting on that vanilla cheese?
Cream cheese icing.
All right. You've redeemed yourself with the cream cheese. For me, it's not very much. So I love confetti cake.
Yeah.
Confetti cake is my favorite. It's very childish and ridiculous. I love funfetti is what it's called, I think. Funfetti. But growing up, my favorite was yellow cake, chocolate icing. My mom could make whatever kind of cake she wanted as long as it was vanilla cake, chocolate icing. I love that. Sweets, you and me, I get it.
Yeah.
Sweets to me are ridiculous. If there's sweets in the house, I don't care. I'm probably gonna have them. Life's too short, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about the food, but you as a person, who do you think as a whole has had the most influence on you as a person?
That's a good question. I think you could probably break that down to probably different stages in my life if I had to think about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, my mom and dad growing up, for sure. I mean, great role models, great marriage, philanthropists in the community, really show you kind of how to be a good person.
Right.
And that's a very simple thing to say, but it's hard to do, right? I mean, to make the right decisions in life is not always the easy decisions, but my mom and dad set that foundation for us, for my siblings and I. I think professionally, there's a couple key, mentors that I've had. My father-in-law, a huge one, seeing what he did throughout his career and being very successful and also doing it the right way, really caring for his patients and making good decisions, sometimes tough decisions, but right decisions for his patients. I look at some of the senior partners in my group, and there's two in particular that really stand out. So before I interviewed one of the senior partners, Ross McHenry, he called me up at my house, and I was on the phone with him for about an hour and a half. And I got off the phone, and Sarah, my wife, asked me, who are you talking to? I was talking to this Dr. Ross McHenry. He's up at Tri-State, and we talked for an hour and a half about the families of the partners in the group. Wow. Right?
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about the practice, but it was mostly about the families and what that meant to him. And so then I use that as kind of the springboard for, okay, this is how I want to practice, and this is what I want to make my priority, moving forward, like we kind of talked about earlier, about that work-life balance. So hopefully I can be that mentor to somebody else.
Yeah.
Is kind of where I'm at in my career now.
Right.
I'm 14 years in.
Yeah.
And where do I go from here? And it's kind of in the middle of my career, and I hope to be maybe that person for one of the younger partners coming in.
But don't you feel like at that point, like I feel like for me, I've been doing it for like 12, 13 years, and now I'm starting to see people come up and come through and like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And people, at first it kind of caught me off guard.
Right.
People are like contacting me and saying, what should I do for this? Or what should I do for that? And how do you want to do this? And at first I was like, I don't know, in these competitive situation. But, it dawned on me that it was an obligation. That learning the way I learned throughout the years of how to do my business and how I take care of clients so well isn't something that I'm not going to tell anybody. Mm-hmm. Forget you. It took me 10 years to figure this out. I think in getting out of being selfish like that and just being like, no, you know what? It's important to share this information with people. It's important to kind of help them. And that is the season I'm in at this point. If somebody's coming through, I can walk them through everything that I do and help them. And I love doing that.
But it's weird because you don't realize that's happening, right? Mm-hmm. There's no switch that flips where you say, okay, I am at that point in my career now where I can be that person to somebody.
That's right.
We don't, it just happens,
It does.
And when I first started, I remember looking at some of the partners thinking, golly, man, they really know what they're doing. They know how to run a business. They know how to take care of patients, all this sort of stuff. And then I was just talking to a couple of my partners that are kind of similar stage in their career as I am. This was over the last couple of weeks we've had these discussions. And part of this, we had a partner that just retired, so it's kind of bringing about some of these discussions. But we're there, and we are the ones now that they're looking at saying, man, that they really kind of know what they're doing, know. And we want to guide them through the process of this is how you establish yourself, as a solid physician, as somebody who does the right thing, who looks out for patient first. That's right. And if you can do that every single day, you're going to do the right thing.
I think it's that weird moment where you're a mentor, but you're a mentee. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at people, and when I started, I'm like, oh, I want to be just like this guy or that guy. And then it just developed to like, well, now I'm like who I am. And people that are coming up, I'm like, why? At first, I'm like, why would they ask me a question? Like, what are they? Those poor people, and I feel so bad for you. No, but then it dawned on me more and more people are like, hey, I'd love to pick your brain, or I'd like to do this, I'd love to do that. And I'm saying, just let me help you with whatever you need help with. I don't have any walls up anymore. If somebody wants to know how I do things, what you would, there's a secret sauce. I don't know, secret sauce? To me, there isn't a secret sauce. Everyone has their own way of doing things. You have your own way of being the doctor that you are to your patients, and how you are with them, and being patient with them, and being calm with them, and thorough and smart. For me, it's just like creating that experience that you had the first time I cooked for you. That was all that was important to me. That's all I care, and that's what I try to teach. It's like, just have fun, and, for you, it's a little bit different. You have people's lives on the line. They're not usually people's lives on the line when I'm cooking for them. But at the same time, they're paying for an experience, and they want you to follow through. So when kids are running around, or dogs are running around, or, it's loud, or I've seen it all. It's about, going with the flow with that and just enjoying yourself.
Well, and you need to. I'm impressed with how you're able to go into a situation and you have no idea what you're getting into, right? You have no idea.
Never
It's
know.
not like, hey, send me a picture of your kitchen. Let me know what, I think the last time you were at my house, I had to have an accessory burner because my stovetop wasn't working right. And
Guess what?
And you went with it.
Guess what? We have the made-in cookware, which works on induction and
That's right.
anything else. Shout out Made In.
I have it too.
Yep, he has it too. So Made In, shout out. We love you. We'd love to have you as a sponsor. I'm just saying. So here we are. We're kind of towards the end, and I love ending things with quickfire. I love quickfire questions, and I have some here for you. Some like FC or Ohio State football. I'm pretty sure that's FC.
I mean, they're different sports.
They're
but
different.
If I had to choose one, definitely FC Cincinnati.
Yeah. You have wonderful seats, by the way. Scott called me up and was like, hey, do you want these seats for FC? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never been to an FC game. And I said, sure, let's go. And they were awesome. The people who sit around you were awesome. And I really understood like what it was all about. Like the excitement of it.
The three of us, Sarah, Grace, and I, we love it. That is our thing. And Sarah played soccer in college, and Grayson's obviously, she plays a ton of soccer with King's Hammer, and so soccer is our thing, and it is quality time.
It is.
It's all about the time. It's all about that experience with each other, and the memories that we've had in some games. I will never forget, and we will always be in that moment together, seeing that game, and they're great memories.
Sitting in the seats, freezing cold or super hot. Of course, your seats, when the sun gets kind of over, are shaded.
Right.
Thank goodness, because the day we did go was super hot.
Right.
But we had I totally understand the FC thing. Totally get it. They won at the end with extra time. It was just exciting.
And you're welcome back anytime because of that.
I would love to go back to another game. But the problem is you've spoiled me because your seats are super nice and it's a nice setup what you have. I love it. Early bird or night owl? Are you an early bird or are you a night owl, you think?
Probably early bird.
Yeah.
And that just comes with my job.
Your job.
I do like to get up, be productive, and feel like I've got the rest of the day to do whatever. I don't like staying up late, wasting the next day.
Because you're old.
That part of it too. Right. I'm like Cinderella. I got to be home at midnight, So
I think we've enjoyed some Blantons here. Shout out Buffalo Trace. We love them too. What's your favorite bourbon? Do you have one? Do you love? You like? You've tried?
Honestly, my favorite bourbon is one that I don't feel guilty about opening the bottle and drinking.
There you go.
I
love that answer.
I used to get into the hunt and trying to find this, and then you feel bad when you open up a really expensive bottle, right? And so
I don't know why that is though. Like, why is that? It's just sitting there. If I have all these bottles down in my basement, I'm like, all right, I'm 53. It's like, even if I started drinking like heavily, like to a problem where like I'm gonna have problems with family members, I'm still probably not going to finish all this bourbon. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
My friends
it's not like you're going to sell it.
No, but my friends are super happy because they're already asking me, like, so what's the protocol when you die? Like, who gets what? Is there a list? Do we need to have a tent in the front of your house? Like, I don't know what they're saying, but it is interesting. I always enjoyed, I think bourbon is like, as long as I'm like enjoying it with somebody else.
Correct.
I mean, that is a good setup to have another drink.
Right,
I mean,
absolutely.
Obviously.
Actually, a couple of years, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, Sarah bought me a really cool gift for Christmas, and it was a barrel, right? Just a bourbon barrel, small barrel, a 5-liter barrel.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll fill it with a cheap bourbon. Mm-hmm. I'll let it age for about 8 months, and then I empty it, and it changes the profile. And that's kind of fun to sample it as it's going along this process too,
right.
over the months.
Yeah.
So that might be my favorite. Is ones that I create.
The ones you create, I think just sharing with people is like, is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. Now, what's one food, I have my own, and my wife knows what that one is, but what's one food that you refuse to eat? Like, you're like, what comes to the table, you're like, no, it's not happening.
It hasn't happened a lot, but liver.
Ooh.
I can't do liver. And part of that is the GI doctor coming out here. I know what the liver does, okay? And so I just don't want to have anything to do with eating something that,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
that function that detoxifies your body, right?
Right.
I don't want that. So anything liver, I stay clear of.
Okay.
You know?
So no liver for Scott's next dinner. Yeah. No.
What's yours?
Mine is a very weird one, and it's gonna surprise a lot of people. I literally will eat anything. You just bring anything, I'll eat it. I hate baby corns. Those little baby corns, they're unnatural to me. They don't make any sense to me. And I've been seeing them. They were trendy back in like the 90s and stuff, along with like palm shoots and stuff. And then they kind of went away. And now I'm starting to see, I just saw on Top Chef, they had baby corns on something. And I'm like, no. Like, I would love to get rid of the baby corn. The ones that come in the jar and they're like this big, I hate those. I can't be around them. They don't make any sense to me. Favorite movie? What's your favorite movie?
I've got a couple. Braveheart.
Braveheart
Is always up there.
Yes.
Dumb and Dumber. I hate to say that, but Dumb and Dumber.
Love Dumb and Dumber.
Anytime it's on, I'm watching it.
Love Dumb and Dumber.
It's a feel-good movie.
Yes.
You know? And then for whatever reason, this one is just from growing up in high school, my buddies and I, The Crow.
The Crow, really?
The Crow, random.
Very dark.
Totally random.
Super
totally
dark.
Yeah.
You know what the cool thing is about The Crow was the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
The music
Absolutely.
for the movie was unbelievable.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not going to let you off the hook on, because I love asking this question. I try to ask it every single time because, you know, I think about going to dinner and who I would want to cook for. The one person would always be my dad. He died when I was 24 and never got a chance to cook for him, like in the way that I do now. I'd love to cook for him. What is one person, living or deceased, that you would love to share dinner with?
I'm glad you asked that because I don't think I brought this up earlier, but kind of when you were asking about my, you know, why I like to cook, why I like to eat, all that, I'd have to talk about my Aunt Chrissy. And so my Aunt Chrissy growing up, when we would come, she lived out in Long Island, New York, and she lived with my grandmother. And anytime we would come to visit as kids, she would just cook up we said she always cooked for an army. And anytime I smell peppers and onions and Italian sausages, I don't care where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
It's that visceral, that emotional response that I get. And I just I'm back as an 8-year-old in my aunt and my grandmother's kitchen, just waiting to eat these. You know,
my gosh.
She made homemade ziti. You know, I appreciated it at the time, maybe as a kid could, because you're hungry. But now looking back at that, I would appreciate that so much more.
Yeah.
You know, and to be able to sit at a table with my aunt, to rub elbows with her in the kitchen as she's cooking, how great would that be?
I mean, it's the same way with my grandmother. You know, my grandmother and my dad, they passed away before I started my business and started cooking for people and really coming out as this cook who could make whatever for whatever. And I often think about it when I man, I would love to sit my dad down and go, okay, what do you want? And having that experience where he would be like, Ken, you know, really? This is what you do? This is your job? There's people pay you to do this? I'm like, yes. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
My grandmother, I think, would appreciate me referencing her as a inspiration, and knowing that all that time and effort she put in to make these amazing meals when I was a kid didn't go unnoticed. That, you know, legacy is about people continuing talking about what you did. You know, they say you die twice. You die first time, and then you die the last time someone says your name. And, you know, for me, I just always want my grandmother and what she did for us to always be that part of the legacy of it wasn't like she was creating these Michelin star dinners, but what she was doing is getting us all around the table with homemade, really heartfelt food, and that's what I always remember, and that was always important to me.
Yeah, you know, when my aunt passed away, my mom gave me a knife that my aunt used to use in the kitchen, and I use that almost every time I need to chop something in the kitchen, right? And it's a good memory. I think about her every single time, and it's Aunt Chrissy's knife. So we'll be making something, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna use Aunt Chrissy's knife, and that's what I do.
I love that. I love that so much. I mean, that's what we're trying to do with the at-home chef is create memories, right? It lasts a lifetime, and it sounds like outside of like cooking for you, we both have our individual memories that we'll hold on to forever. You know, here's a closing question. If everyone listening today could take away one lesson from your life, what would you want that lesson to be?
I think it's balance. You know, it's really hard. I think no matter what your career path may be, no matter what's going on in life, it's balance and staying focused to what is the most important thing in your life. And for me, it's my family. And yeah, it's cliche to say family comes first, but it's easy to say, hard to do. And so I try to make that a focus of my life every single day. And so I think if you can keep that in mind, it'll steer you in the right direction, no matter what decision you have to make in life. Is family, friends, relationships, that's what's important.
You know, it's interesting because you say it's an amazing lesson. I think that somebody listening today is going to resonate heavily with that. You know, for me, when it's like my birthday or something and people are asking me what I want for my birthday, all I really want to do is spend time with my friends, my family, people that I'm close to. It's like things are diminishing returns as you get older. I think as you get older, you recognize that the time spent with people, because you start realizing that it's so small, that you only have a few times a year you get to spend time with that person. You want to make sure you maximize it. So it's like, I think that's a wonderful lesson. You know, Scott, I am so excited I had you on. You know, when we were thinking about some of the first guests that we wanted to have on, I had someone say, hey, have a longtime client on, and there was no one else that I could think of.
Well, thank
so I'm
you.
so excited. You have been instrumental in shaping what I am today and what I've done, and I just wanted you to kind of just have a little talk outside of the kitchen. And thank you so much for coming and having a seat at my table.
That was awesome.
Boom, dude.
Was it all right?
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. Are you kidding? Thank you so much for watching and listening. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and share the show. Every great story deserves a seat at the table.